Hello, we're live from the Toronto Build Station kickoff week to celebrate the Colosseum Frontier Hackathon. I'm Fibonacci. I lead BD for Super Team Canada, and I'm here with our trusted lead, Super Simon.
Hi guys, good to see you. I'm Simon, lead of Super Team Canada, and yeah, we just wrapped up week one of our kind of 4-week activation sprint for the Colosseum startup competition. It's been a fun week.
It has.
Yeah.
We have had some incredible workshops with absolute bangers of speakers in Chris from Titan,
Nick from Helios,
Jas, Astrolane, and more.
And one today at in an hour, there'll be Reem giving a founder-led marketing workshop as well. She'll be streaming in, so that'll be available online as well.
And that one is going to be more than just founder-led marketing. It's going to be attracting people to yourself and your startup, including investors. So that'll be interesting. Stick around, whether you're building for Frontier or not, 4 p.m.
Yeah, and this is obviously the end of the kickoff week, which is our in-person activation, but we'll have 2 more weeks of online workshops available, office hours, pitch deck feedback, and we give you a bunch of timelines of what you need to be accomplishing by when. All of that is available online. And then, of course, starting May 4th on a Monday, we'll be back here in this space for another full 8 days of in-person workshops, in-person activations, places for you to work and get feedback on your product. That will primarily be focused on your submission. So your submission will get into what the requirements are and everything that happens there. But we want to work with you on what are actual submission requirements for the Colosseum Startup Competition and helping you make sure those are high quality as possible.
Yeah, and we'll get a little bit more into that, what the next couple weeks look like shortly. I'm going to start by saying, if you're not familiar with Colosseum, it's Solana's biggest global startup competition, and I actually believe it's the biggest startup competition in crypto. And so this year's theme is the Frontier competition, and I mean, all you really have to do is submit a 3-minute pitch and a 3-minute demo, as well as a link to your GitHub. But of course, you can also submit like weekly 1-minute updates, for example. And this year, it's a little bit looser in terms of building on Solana if you're already live on Solana or not. So let's say you're building in FinTech or you're building on another chain and you have the intention or desire to start building on Solana and you start to show some progress toward that, then you may find that you have a better chance this round than previous rounds. So yeah, that's Colosseum. Now, what do we have coming up for the remote build weeks, and what else do we have to look forward to during the final sprint?
Well, from Super Team in general, if you're watching this from a different country, there's 26 countries that do have a Super Team. So reach out to your local Super Team organization, their lead, find their community, go to their events in their country. So shout out to Super Team UK, Super Team Germany, the Balkans, of course, La Familia if you're in Spain, and of course a bunch more in Asia, Super Team Japan, Super Team Philippines, and Malaysia as well. They all do amazing work. There's a bunch of workshops available for you online and in person from them, but particularly for Canadians, we do have our remote work session over the next 2 weeks. So stay tuned to our Luma calendar to see every single workshop that's happening, every single office hours, all the resources that are available there on our Luma calendar, as well as, the final sprint, as we're calling it, in May. I know Consensus is happening. A bunch of you are going to Miami for Consensus. Accelerate AI Day that's happening down in Miami, May 4th, 5th, and 6th. However, if you're staying here, or you come back after that, this place will be open for any founder to come in and get feedback on their product and refine their pitch. We'll also be doing a pitch roast show. So we're bringing in a venture capital firm that is going to be ordered to roast people's pitches. So the application for that will be open soon. I think the Luma is actually up, so you can sign up for the watch party. But the application for to be roasted by Lucid Ventures will be open. We've done it the past 2 years. It's always been a lot of fun. So we try to find some people that think that maybe their pitch is perfect and well refined, and we'll get some professionals in here to roast your pitch, with the intention being that you're actually able to improve your pitch before the submission, because we always want you guys to have the highest probable chances of winning the Colosseum. And then we will also do a large Canada demo day on May the 11th, so the day of the submission, which I think will be like 3 a.m. We're usually here till 3 a.m. Monday night. Day of Monday, we'll do a Canada demo day, and that is for the Canada sidetrack. So there's $10,000 US available specifically just for Canadians participating in the Colosseum. So you're not competing on a global stage for those funds or that prizes. It's just in the Canada ecosystem. And typically we get about 50 to 100 submissions at that point, and we'll kind of try to focus in on at the highest quality, most promising teams that are going to deliver their pitch very soon. We'll put out our announcement for that demo day very soon to sign up for that. And then hopefully, so you get some feedback and you're able to refine your submission finally before the deadline Monday night at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So now I want to talk a little bit more about the perks and support that we have available for builders. We announced this week the pre-acceleration program, which is a separate tier of support for founders that are extraordinarily driven to take their startup or platform to the next level, not just for this competition, but over the course of the next year, 5 years. So for that, let's just pull up the Super Team Canada website. We have a form that you can fill in, let us know about what you're working on. And with that, we will be in touch to let you know more about the opportunities. There's also a button on the Spark North application to join our Founders Telegram group. We post our broader support resources there, workshops, all of our updates for founders. So definitely join that group if you're not already in it. For the acceleration program in general, we have some exciting perks available. Do you want to talk about that?
I mean, you're the master of all the perks. You have it all logged in all of your resource databases. AWS is one perk, I know that.
Mm-hmm. $5,000 in credits for Amazon Web Services hosting.
Mm-hmm.
We also have our newest addition, which is Astralane. Mm-hmm. Astralane credits for data and RPC, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And landing transactions fast.
Yes, exactly. And also, if you do get accepted into the Spark North Accelerator program, we do connect you with some high quality mentors within our ecosystem to help you kind of refine your pitch a bit more and refine your product and get feedback on it.
Yeah. We've had industry leading mentors for every Colosseum competition, and that's no different now. Those will be announced on our X account very soon, so keep an eye out for that. But the other thing about being a part of that cohort is that we are part of Super Team is that we provide a global talent network. We are tapped into every Super Team around the world, which means that we are tapped into a ton of leadership in the space and other teams that, you know, if you're far enough along in your startup journey and you need like a key introduction, a part of what we're trying to do is to create more pathways to partnerships and eventually raising capital. Which brings me to an announcement, big leak. This year, Spark North is going to continue, or its pre-acceleration program is going to continue past the Frontier competition. So Frontier ends. What's next? The name of the workshop. What's next is more acceleration. So whether or not you do get into the Colosseum Accelerator, you will continue to have support, and many of you could be onboarded as Super Team Canada members. So that's definitely something to stick around for, because past submission, the judges will be looking at what you have submitted, your project, your X social accounts for weeks. So you'll want to be able to keep building traction and building in public. And so we'll continue to support you in that journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we're starting to see a lot of teams that want to continue to grow beyond and outside of just the Colosseum pathway. Like it is one best way to go forward, but if you don't get into the accelerator program, which is very difficult to do, they only accept up to 10 people per cohort. So when there's 10,000 signups for the competition and only 10 of them get into the accelerator program, there may still be some high quality founders building some really serious products that want to continue to get additional support. And we are going to do our best to continue to offer that to those people beyond the Colosseum scope.
Which could, for many Spark North teams, feed into other programs, accelerators in the space. For example, Alliance, Orange Monkey Foundry, etc.
Monkey Nova, I think they've launched now as well.
With us. And I will just say, even if you're not accepted to the Spark North program and you are part of our Telegram group and we're chatting with you and you continue to make progress, you could potentially be accepted to the next cohort, which will be in the fall, or you may end up also getting onboarded as a Super Team Canada member, which comes with its own suite of perks and an incredible network of talent. I want to talk about some of the members that we
Maybe.
You're live.
Okay, we're live.
Just bugged out. I don't know why.
Sorry for the visual issues. You can still hear our wonderful voices online. Some of our members are co-founders of Helios. We have the co-founders of Titan Exchange. We have people that work at different market makers. We have previous founders that have exited multiple times and they're just kind of experimenting in the ecosystem. We have, geez, I don't know, very fun Monkey DAO people, exec Monkey DAO Moon Settler. We have Nam, the co-founder of Moonwalk Fitness and Bonk. And yeah, some really, really amazing, awesome people that are always open to kind of give back to the next generation of founders and help them with their journey in attempting to raise an angel seed round or a pre-seed round for their company.
Some of our members are also the content creators, influencers in the space, bangers, Frisk. We also have Orange, of course, the redheaded Canadian named Orange.
Yeah.
Who will be featured in many pictures and follow-up videos, I'm sure. We also have members from the Solana Foundation, so it's pretty exciting. And in fact, we will be having one of them do a workshop at the final sprint. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I mean, okay, so we're gonna step back for a second and just share a little bit of my personal journey as a founder. The hardest part was not getting access to knowledge. There was a ton of courses available online, resources, free workshops that cost like $10 to join to learn about how to write a value proposition, to learn about pitching, etc. The hard part was tapping into getting to know the right people as I went and getting the right advice. So the strongest thing that I did in not having funding, trying to build a team through equity, etc., was building a board of advisors. And they did a ton of hands-on work with me, people that really believed in the mission and vision of what I was trying to achieve. And with that, took me a lot further. than necessarily even raising funding could have. So tapping into this network, super important, coming out to these build stations. Yeah, it's there was a thread the other day from Maddie about like the glorification of being a founder and sort of the illusion of overnight success and how hard it really is. Like, did you read that thread? Did you see it?
No.
I think it was yesterday.
Can you share it with me?
Yeah.
DM it to me after.
I will.
Thank
For
you.
sure. Yeah, I bookmarked that. Shout out to Maddie from Colosseum. Talking about the grind, like the years of talking to users, putting out content, trying to reach the right people, and finally getting those 50 people that are super passionate about your product or service, whatever you're working on, and from there trying to get to the 100, the 500 and beyond, and then eventually going to raise. And that you just get better at solving bigger problems, but it doesn't necessarily get easier. So having support is so important, whether it be peers like other founders, is like beyond just your team. But yeah, that's my shared experience, which got just a little bit more serious, but that's a part of why we do this, and why Super Team Canada is so passionate about supporting founders, is because it's hard to get to know the right people and to get into the right rooms, and we facilitate those events through things like this build station. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Yeah, show and tell.
Show and tell.
Sharing is caring.
Are we ready for questions? Question and answer period? Where are we on the agenda?
We are. Before we get there, I just want to recap a few things. So, for example, yes. So, recap this week's workshops. Okay. So, key lessons from this week's workshops. The first thing is start thinking about why you, like why are you the right team to build this? Why now? And why on Solana if you're building on Solana? What other key lessons do we have?
I mean, what problem are you solving? I think is definitely something I've asked a lot of people here this week. They come to me with ideas and passion, and I try to always just bring it back to what problem are they solving, and then why do they need blockchain to solve that problem, and really just focus it on like one sentence, and start thinking about all of that in a sense of you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to submit a video, so you're going to have to describe the problem, the solution, the why, what the why now, and why you're the right person to do it, all in 3 minutes. And that is the final submission video that you'll have to do. So just like that's probably the biggest lesson, is really condense down and your idea and what you want to do as much as possible, as early as possible, so that the next few weeks can be as focused on execution as possible.
Yeah, definitely. We also have a resource library with like templates of pitches. You can go to the arena for Colosseum if you're registered, which you should register as soon as possible, and create your project. Even if you don't know the name yet, just put like TBA, create your project just in case, because we did have a situation where a team didn't create the project before the submission window opened, and then they could no longer create a project, which was not good. So make sure to, even if you're not going to submit, just create your project just in case you change your mind.
Set up your profile, connect your socials, set up your project page, get it all ready to go. Know that you're ready to submit your project when the submission does open. It's not open yet, but we'll let you know, obviously, across all the channels when you are able to submit. Once it is open, you can submit your videos, and if you decide not to like it the next day, you can re-upload them as long as it's before the submission deadline on May 11th.
There was one more thing. Oh yes, I did want to leak that the winner from Cypherpunk
Mm.
Z from Take Drive will be hosting a workshop with us closer to the end of the hackathon. So if you want to know what it's like to go through the Colosseum accelerator,
Mhm.
you want to know what it's like to win, that'll be pretty cool. So follow us, make sure you check out our Luma calendar as well so that you can be a part of that.
Cool.
And I'm ready. Yeah, I think
Ready
we're
for
ready
questions?
for questions.
We're ready for questions.
It's
Chat, pass Fib's mic around.
said-
Well, my right mic.
I said Simon's mic, didn't
Yeah.
I?
Sure.
We can do my mic.
Oh,
Oh,
my mic? Flip it up.
here you go.
Why?
Simon.
No problem.
So for my question, I was really curious, like when you were doing your journey and you guys helping others, like isn't this what you truly really enjoy, like making a company in a space that's like changing really fast? Like what other thing would you have rather been doing? Like sometimes there's problems that come all the time, but didn't you enjoy like working hard and figuring things out? Like I'd love to hear more about that.
Mm,
So thank you.
yeah, I love solving problems. So being a founder was one of the best things that I ever did. Having no direction except a vision in my head and trying to experiment to see if that would work and having to change that vision. But most of all, having those problems I came up against, whether it be regulatory or financial, figuring out users, how to get in front of more people, all of it was extraordinarily hard, and looking for answers and just like deep diving all of the possibilities. And the best part was trying to find loopholes in the systems to be able to get around certain obstacles, and like how could I kind of like operate in the gray area that has not yet been well defined. Yeah, that was really cool. But that's also what I love about working at Super Team, is that it has a very entrepreneurial spirit. Like we kind of like, I was with Simon when he launched Super Team Canada, and we got to build from the ground up with templates and support from Super Team Global, but figuring out what works in our country and for our founders, given like the resources available here, the early stage support gaps for startups, etc. It is very entrepreneurial and a lot of fun, and there's always something new to try or figure out, new challenges, new meta, new economy.
Like that feeling when you solve something is just like so fun. I don't know, I personally enjoy it.
Yeah,
Kind of
it's a good feeling.
spontaneous, so you're not doing day to day like one thing. You're doing like a lot of things, like and then meeting people. It's like a weird space. It's kind of like if you get in trouble at school, but then I don't know, you figure something out that like, teaches you something new and stuff.
So tell me, for you, Simon, what was, I guess, talk to me about like building something and things that you had to force yourself to learn that you didn't in your previous role, that was more like specific to a very specific field.
It's a very specific question.
Yes. You're welcome.
Our job is to help people, which is a very, very nice job to have. And starting this thing out with Fib, the first thing that we focused on was building a community and a trusted community across the country. And that took a lot from us to, physically, just to kind of try to be everywhere across Canada and build those connections. Thankfully, we both had a pretty solid background in networks and communities that we built, not only in Canada, but also around the world. And that helped a lot. We have a lot of really good contributors that give back a lot to us to help us kind of give back to them. And it builds like this really nice community flywheel of people that are helping each other. And I think that's essentially what we're trying to continue to do, which is focus in on these founders, these Canadian founders that are trying to experiment in the space or trying to launch a company. Maybe they're not as well connected or don't understand what kind of is going on in the ecosystem. They just need somebody to talk to, somebody to network with, some feedback on their product. We do a lot of workshops. I think there was one really, really good one by Kevin from Uniblock last year, which was it was just called How to Raise Capital in Web3, or it wasn't even related to Web3. It was just like, how do you fundraise for your company? And it was probably one of the most insightful workshops that I've been to. And it was just about how to navigate the space, how to talk to VCs, when to raise capital, how much capital do you raise, where do you set your market cap at, how do you deal with VCs and DMs and pitch to them, and how do you mentally deal with 99 no's just to try to get that one yes. And so like our job is to just help our Canadian community try to launch companies, and I think the end goal is to raise capital. And every once in a while we do succeed in helping people do that, and that kind of makes it all worth it. I know a lot of you know Titan Exchange in here, the guys from Toronto. I think they're a prime example of what we want to achieve with as many people as possible, which is working with them on a weekly basis. Almost 2 years ago, they were coming in with us and just getting feedback, and they were kind of bringing their team together into our workspace, connecting with us, connecting with other people in the space. And we watched them go from kind of a young, scrappy team sitting at one desk all together, sharing stuff, all the way to, last year they were our key sponsor for our Startup Village, which was like a 16-day long co-working event. And then just I think earlier this year is when they announced their seed round and raised $7 million. So like that's kind of the journey we want to see on these Canadians over a 1 to 2 year time period, is like, how do we help them accelerate and succeed in their businesses?
Yeah, that's where the kind of global talent network really comes in, but also just facilitating spaces for people to meet in a way that we don't even have a direct hand in. We're just like creating the space and bringing the right people together. I think one thing that I see founders do that I try to always encourage less of is not looking for feedback and not talking to users, building in a vacuum of your own ideas and beliefs. It's very hard to test your own assumptions without other people. And in the age of AI, there's a little bit more that you can do in your own space if you have, an AI that is giving you feedback or giving you access to like market insights. But yeah, really coming out to these kinds of events, especially talking to people who have done it before, which is a big part of the super team membership, is, you get to talk to people who have already raised in this space or otherwise. So yeah, it's highly, highly valuable.
Good question. Any other questions for today? Ciao, ciao. No, you got maybe Addy.
Was there a point where you guys were like, this is something we want to give up on? And how did you guys like kind of bounce back from that? Oh, what happened?
Viv, was there a point of where we wanted to give up on like Super Team Canada in general? Yeah. Okay. For Super Team Canada personally, I don't think I've hit that point before. We're only a year and a half in, and it's been kind of growth and expansion and a lot of wins, lots of capital raised by our members. I think we've collectively hit like 40 million plus for our members across the board of what, how much capital they've raised. We've gotten them a lot of jobs in the space or helped them hire people through our network in the space, which is one thing we focus on as well, is Canadian companies hiring other Canadians and helping them kind of, work for Canadian talent. I don't know. I think I'm still on the honeymoon period right now. Ask me again in next year. We'll see where I'm at mentally.
Yeah, I think with Super Team Canada, no, because we have such a strong team, and then our community is, it's like having a massive board of advisors of people that are contributing and like actually putting in work and giving back in ways that resolve a lot of stumbling blocks as we go. And I mean, it's still challenging, and there are times where I'm afraid like I cannot keep up with this team, because they are, wow, they are really good. But yeah, no, I haven't hit that point of wanting to give up. But in previous ventures, I have, and that's actually an interesting thing to talk about. Is how do you know when to walk away? How do you know when it's time to pivot? We are going to have a workshop on like iteration and pivots coming up, which is to be announced, and I've already got a speaker confirmed for that, so we'll let you know. But yeah, I think there are so many reasons to want to give up, and sometimes those reasons are valid. Like if it's time to put it down, that's okay. But for me, I mean, I built for like 4 or 5 years the same thing and kept hitting roadblocks and running out of money, and super challenging. There were some times where I wanted to give up, but that's where, having a good idea is one thing, but having a reason why you want to build that thing is so important, because that why, or that reason d'etre. Shout out to Ben, who speaks French, our teammate. Yeah, that is what kept me going. And being able to talk to people and get advice and say, being able to admit, I don't know what to do from here. Right? Like being authentic, not trying to be perfect, but being able to say, I'm stuck. And surrounding yourself with people that are willing to talk to you about it. And they might not have the answers or be able to lift you out of the hole, but at least, you can start to think through things in less of a vacuum. Those are the two ways that I kind of keep pushing through.
I actually would like to ask, because you've seen a lot of projects going up and down. Like we have lots of winners here in Canada, but most of them don't have luck or don't have the opportunity or the mindset of making it through. And are some common basically common things you think like teams like us could be improved? Because you've been like running this for like a year and a half. You definitely see a lot of projects like us.
Okay. General advice to teams in the face of seeing many other teams fail. I think there's a quote. Somebody fix this one if it's wrong. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I think a lot of people may be preparing a lot, and that they feel like they're working so hard, but they're not getting any opportunities. So I would say be as extroverted as possible. Do go out to as many events as possible, but not too many, because you still need to get work done. That still needs to happen. But network and meet new people and push yourself outside of your own comfort zone socially. Don't stay in the same bubble of 20 to 30 people too often. It's good to have kind of your home base, but find a new workshop or a new networking event, or travel as much as possible as well. So like even outside of Toronto, if events come up in New York or Ottawa or Montreal, and you can go there and you can afford to go there, or you go to Vancouver or the States or even Europe or in Asia, you can build a better map of what is actually going on in the ecosystem, and where the narratives are headed on certain products. Um, and you kind of just get better perspective of what's happening. I think that's what helped me a lot understand where things are and what's most important, and to keep track of what is out of date in terms of an idea. So when a founder comes to me with an idea and they start pitching it to me, I can reference 3 or 4 other products that attempted that 3 years ago. But it's because I went to all these different events around the world or talked to all the different founders that were building those products at that time. And it takes years to build that catalog of knowledge, to have the perspective to allow you to see which path you should be focusing on as a founder.
Yeah, I think you also asked about what we see in terms of founders who, can you repeat the, like, just part of
So basically, just what are some common, like either like characteristics
Okay.
or
yeah. Okay, got it.
I'm realizing I didn't really answer your question,
No,
so
it's okay.
Pip's got it.
No, it's okay. I want to, that I loved your answer. I just
Thank
want
you.
to add in like a different angle in terms of like what I see. I'm going to talk more about founders that, first I'll start with like the ones that I see kind of like lose their spark and go quiet for extended periods, or they burn out. One thing is like being in love with your idea, really believing that like your idea is like the thing that is needed, and not being so much in love with the problem that you're trying to solve. Being in love with like the idea of entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur, as opposed to like being in love with kind of the process of trying to fix something. And the idea of like what it could become is super exciting. But I find a lot of founders believe that what they're building is extraordinarily special and important, which it may be, but not everyone might agree, and trying to find the right people to see that. Or maybe you are solving a really important problem, but going about it in the wrong way. And so, a lot of founders I work with, when faced with a setback or a non-win, for example, I mean, if you're passionate about what you're working on, often like your identity can become really tied into that. And it becomes like what I'm building and this problem I'm trying to solve becomes kind of like a part of me, and it's a reflection of me. And so if something fails, it could feel like a personal failure, like it's like or that they're seeing me as a failure. When usually it's just numbers. It's like there's just too many people with too many good ideas. And there's one of our speakers said this, but it's like the Colosseum judges are just one set of investors looking for something very specific. And there are so many venture funds out there, venture syndicates like Lucid Ventures, all over, like not just Canada, not just the Solana space, but globally. And a lot of foreign funds coming into Canada as well. So yeah, that is one thing, is not being prepared to bounce back from the setbacks, the no's, the disappointments, and like not realizing that there's going to be 100 no's, 1,000 no's before you kind of hit that yes, for most people. So, it's okay to like be extraordinarily disappointed and feel demotivated, but finding ways to sort of reconnect with that purpose and why you're doing it, and to just remember that it's like really not personal, it's just numbers. Like the quote that you talked about, I think that's really big for founders that make it, and also founders that find a way to turn that, so cliche, but turn like the failure into a lesson. Really like focusing on the lesson as opposed to, I guess, like the feeling of failure.
We have one more question, and then we got a break.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, like, sometimes, like, maybe the idea of like focusing on like making money, like, as a very important aspect. Like, you can have fun with like the business, but like just keeping that in mind that like if you can make a certain amount of money, it could be a small amount. You can then like just learn if something's working a little bit and then grow it, like before raising money, or like, if you win an accelerator or something, that's great, but like before risking, like putting the company or your idea at risk, like if you raise money and then you don't make it grow enough fast enough, like the balance between that. And then, yeah, because if you have a business that you would like, do you think that you can grow like fairly, like you can grow a business into a good small business, and that could be great. That's awesome. But if you want to raise money, usually you want to grow really fast. So how to think about that? Like, yeah, like I wonder if sometimes, like like keeping like the idea of how you're gonna grow your business long term, like how important that is, like, and especially with crypto, because it's kind of like a weird category.
I'll take the beginning of this one while it marinates with Fib, and she can follow up with something a lot more intellectual than what I'm going to say, which is the space I think has changed a lot in terms of the startup growth with AI and the growth of companies, and like how fast you can achieve the foundation of your company. As for like revenue generation and capital investment, I'll start with saying like Super Team is like a talent incubator without asking for equity, right? We're not going to be pressuring you to build, yeah, not pressuring you to kind of get a return on investment back, right?
Yeah, that's a big factor. Because someone that just wants to make money quick, like,
Yeah.
will talk to you differently.
Yeah, so I suggest you definitely watch the workshop 6 months ago from Kevin from Uniblock. He talks all about managing expectations with VCs and which ones to avoid and which ones to talk to and how to raise and that kind of stuff.
You just say no.
You can say no. Sometimes it is good to have a VC that is aligned with your vision, because they can maybe keep you accountable, maybe keep you on a timeline and on a track. And sometimes some founders kind of need that behind them to stay focused. A lot of founders will have different projects going on all the time. They'll pivot way too much, and they kind of just end up spiraling a little bit. So you gotta make sure you stay aligned, especially when you have an idea that you think might work. So it's kind of maybe taking outside capital might help with that.
You're gonna use it for this to like grow, like,
No,
it's not like random. It's like, this makes some money. If I do this like 2 or 3 times like the scale, maybe I could like use that money to grow it without taking as much risk of like
yeah,
not knowing what's
you
gonna happen.
without raising capital, you can do that. Yeah, you can generate revenue. It might stunt your growth a little bit, but who knows what the landscape is these days? Of course, with your startup. Fib, do you want to follow up with that a
And
bit more?
if you have like, say, like 30 to 50,000 MRR, like, say a lot of say the Frontier Accelerator is giving you 250K. So that's like like over like 5 or 10%. That's like what, like a 2.5 or 5 million valuation. So to be able to fit that, like, isn't that kind of like a good amount to be like thinking about, where you have some money that you're making to maybe hire a small team, but you're not just throwing the money away like without like a direction. Like,
I think it'd be much more than just the money. It would
Of
be
course, of course.
the accelerator, the connections, the exposure, and everything that comes along with getting into the accelerator. Also, you could, if you want to, win the Colosseum Frontier, get the prize money, but say no to the accelerator because you don't like the terms and you don't want to accept that. And that's fine too. There's no lose in that, in the sense of you'll still have all of the exposure that you get with winning the Colosseum.
Or you just might like it's not like you don't want to take that risk yet, or you just want
Sure.
to take a little bit more time to
I'm gonna jump in and say, just because they can't hear you on the stream, I think so. There's a lot of long silences. I'm gonna jump in
Sorry.
and say that, like, when is the right time to get capital? Like, of course, that workshop is important, but also looking back at Moon Settler's workshop from this week, he talked about scaling products and kind of knowing when it's time to start really ramping up, when it's time to start scaling, as opposed to like when you're really, really in the early phases of experimenting and iterating. Yeah, that would be my other workshop to recommend on that. But generally, I know a lot of founders that have said no to capital because the investor like just wasn't aligned. Sometimes it can slow you down, and if they have a completely different vision or mission, it can pull you off track or make you suddenly accountable to KPIs or expectations that were never a part of your vision. And that's, when you start to lose that why, it's a very easy way to burn out, as opposed to maybe like looking back and continuing to just build on your terms. But there does come a point where, like, if you want to scale rapidly, then finding an aligned investor would be a pretty good thing to do. And again, it comes back to like surrounding yourself with people who have either done it before, people who know you well, and yeah, just like community of peers that you can talk to about those kinds of decisions, because it's a big decision. Take capital.
One last question before we wrap up. Anything else? Sure.
Question about super teams. So you said there are 26 around the world, right? How would you sort of rank them objectively?
Oh,
Is that an appropriate question?
Sure, I can take that spicy one.
I was gonna give him my mic.
Which child is your favorite, Fib?
Sorry.
Out of all the super teams,
I'm sorry.
which one is your?
What?
Are you asking how do you rank super teams?
Well, obviously, every super team thinks they're the best super team. So, everyone, because what you're doing in your country is the best thing in your country, most likely, if you're succeeding as a super team. It's working. So there's a lot of like different ways of doing things, and things that work in Canada might not work the way that they work in India. And like, UAE has a huge strength in terms of like investors, VCs raising, and other countries have strengths in like the amount of developers, strong developers that they have. And so, I mean, there are some metrics that like are looked at across super teams in terms of like key performance indicators, looking at like, how much have you helped startups to raise, how many people are attending your events, how much is your community earning. So, a community that has more developers will have more like community earnings perhaps than funds that have been fundraised for a startup. But that makes it very difficult to say that one super team is necessarily the best or ranked the best, because it really just depends on what area and the metric that you're looking at. And I'll pass that to Simon. He'll have something more well-rounded, I would think.
No, I think you got it pretty good. We all have different strengths and weaknesses as super teams, and we try to share as many resources amongst us. Some are also older and newer. So one of the oldest is Super Team India and Super Team Germany. I think they're over 3 years now. We're coming up on 2 years in the summer, and Super Team USA just launched like last month. So it's hard to like, you can't. It's very difficult, especially like I find the 1 year mark is kind of when a super team really settles into how they function as a community, what they focus on. Then there's the more like mature super teams, 2, 3, 4 years old, that kind of have to keep challenging themselves in different ways to continue to grow, not only as an organization internally, but also adapting to the changes exterior to the organization with the markets and different focuses on technology and that kind of stuff. Where in the US is the super team? They launched and starting in Miami. So they're focusing right now just on Miami. And I think they're obviously like only a month old. So like they're kind of, I think they got a lot of big push coming out right now, but they're focusing a lot on growth, and also Accelerate Miami is coming up in a few weeks. So they're
like a New York to California one or something.
No way to know.
no, yeah, no, we'll see. I will say that Solana has had a hub in New York for a couple of years already. They have an office there. They call it Solana Skyline. Kind of. And it's also led by Becca, who's also a Super Team Canada member. She's actually leading the Solana Skyline office in New York. So like the Canadian plant there. There's also some activities in I think Chicago and LA and Austin for different reasons. Obviously, like there's a huge presence for Solana in the States. The super team model I think is new, and they're just experimenting with how it will work in Miami before they decide if they want to kind of grow from there. It's a big country. I think we were the biggest country by far for a super team to launch. And geographically, we had certain strategies to manage the geographic size with the small population, and that kind of helped us get things going in our country. And they'll probably started in the States, and maybe they'll follow the same model, or maybe they'll forge their own path in America.
Yeah, it's really hard to know. We'll see.
Probably better to do one at a time.
We'll find out when we go down there for Accelerate Miami. We'll chat with the leads and see what their plans are.
And there will be a lot of Canadians there, because there are a ton of Canadians all over the Solana space. It's incredible. Every time we go to an event, we get this comments that there's Canadians everywhere. Like it's a Canadian takeover. So prepare if you're going to Miami. Yeah. There will be a lot of us. I'm going to wind us down because we do have another workshop with an incredible guest speaker in 20 minutes on founder-led marketing and attracting people, including investors, to yourself and your startup. That is by Reem, the founder of Fractal. Also, just want to kind of close this out by reminding you that if you have not yet applied to the pre-accelerator program, Spark North, now's the time. There are a very limited number of spots, and we will be matching teams with their mentors very soon. And if we run out of spots, then even if you are an incredible team, you may lose out on an opportunity to have an amazing mentor. So get on that as soon as possible. And if you are a founder and you're not building on Solana, maybe you don't know anything about blockchain, but you're building in like fintech or another space, and you're looking for, what are the ways that perhaps the blockchain might be able to make my product more efficient or open new possibilities, you can reach out to me, partners at superteam.ca. Or if you do fill in this form, there's also a Telegram group button there. You can join to learn more. There are a lot of ways that that Solana could help to take your product to the next level. So it's definitely something to consider. And what do we have coming up after this afternoon's workshop?
Like a closing mixer party?
Sorry, I meant like the final sprint build station.
Yes, the final build.
Sorry.
Yes. Welcome to everybody on the stream who joined halfway through. We have another couple of weeks of online workshops happening for anybody to enjoy on the interwebs. And then the final sprint will be happening May 4th to May 11th in Toronto in these offices, full of a bunch more workshops and help and feedback on your pitch so that we help you improve your chances of winning the Colosseum competition.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining us. Have a great day. See you soon.
Bye-bye.